Dejan got the sauce, boy.
Yeah, I got the sauce, did you pick it up? If it dropped my heart, would you lift it up? If I cooked it up, would you eat it up? If it planted flowers, would you pick them up? If I say yeah, but don't level up. Would you ever lie or cheat, threaten to leave? Question she asked me. If I went broke, would you leave me out in the cold? Where it snows, can't find no love. But I know that that's how it goes. That's how it goes. The true color show. The true color show.
Forget the sauce, would you pick it up? Yeah. Life not bad, I'ma fix it up. You know my chick, don't mix it up. All of this dick, come sip it up. You know my gang, don't push it up. Brand new whips when we pulling up. Course she wanna date, she a fan, bruh. We robbing the state, put your hands up. Big love, I'm your close friend, she twerking crazy, shake that. I'm a rich nigga, might break that. If I send a text, don't save that. I know there ain't shit to lose, but you gonna fuck up my groove.
Yo, what's going on, you sexy ass motherfuckers? It's me. I'm back at it again with part fucking 2 to where the Deku had the Rinnegan. But before that, let me get a couple of things out the way. Sorry I didn't upload Sunday and fucking Monday and Tuesday, bro, because I should be uploading this Wednesday, hopefully. But yeah, school's being a fucking bitch lately. I don't know why it is. It's just me slipping, you know. But other than that, my next video that will be coming out will be a Black Clover what if, so I'm gonna let y'all decide which one y'all want. Alright, I'm gonna put a poll in my community section. Alright, and if you don't know where the fuck that is, let me show you. Alright, so if you go to my YouTube channel, alright, and if you go to community, alright, it should be right here. Alright, I will have a community post right here. By the time this video should be uploaded, I should have one already. It'll be a Black Clover. And it should be between, so I think the max options are 4. So yeah, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5. So I have 5 different ones, so I'm only going to be able to choose 4 of these Black Clover orders. But yeah, you're going to have to decide between that. Deku's mom and dad's name is going to be Kushina and Minato, but they're not reincarnations. That is just their name, nothing more, nothing less. And Deku will be creating the fucking Akatsuki, bro. The Akatsuki. So, yes, keep that in mind, because at the time I was thinking about this, I checked, it was 3 to 4. Now it should be fucking 4 to 4 to 5 to 4. So, I think right now Hero is winning, but, you know, I already made the decision, right? So it's gonna be Akatsuki. Sorry for anyone who wanted Hero, but I might make a remake in the future, to where I'll make him be a hero. But you know, he's gonna be making the Akatsuki in this one. So like, yeah. But the way he makes it is yeah, it should go be saucy as fuck. Just stay put for the sports festival, because like I said in my last part, or my last part 2 to what if Deku had the Flash's powers. The sports festival will be the catalyst for a lot of things that will change the story in that what if. Alright, so keep that in mind. But yeah, other than that, let's get into this fucking part 2, baby. Alright, so last time we left off, Deku just got finished texting Setsuna. You know, he went to sleep, wakes up the next morning, he has breakfast with his family, right? You know, they tell him, you know, he's gonna go to school in about a week. You know, he could, you know, hang out with, you know, Setsuna, you know, because I'm gonna say they know the name. If you don't know what Setsuna looks like, I'll put up a picture, because I don't think I put one last video. But yeah, it should be up right now. And yeah, that's what she looks like. So yeah, he says, yeah, I'll ask her if she wants to go to the mall today. And you know, they're like, oh, that's good, you know, we can give you money to buy some outfits, you know, you barely have any. And he's like, oh, alright, I'll gladly appreciate that. And they're like, okay then, you know, have a good time. And he's like, alright then. And, you know, like, they talk about school, you know, shit like, how does it feel to go back to school? And he's like, well, I haven't been to school in about 5 years, so it'll be interesting, but I don't think it should be that much of a difference. I mean, I don't even need to go to school anymore, but since the law requires me to, I guess I have to. And also I want to go to UA, so yeah, that's kind of a given. And you know, like, oh, you want to go to UA? Minato says, I heard that was their acceptance rate is very, very low. And Deku's like, well, I have a feeling I'll be able to get in. Something tells me, you know. And they, are like, oh, okay then, like we'll gladly support you all the way. He's like, thank you, mom, dad, and when they hear mom and dad, ooh, sheesh, the heart flutters, right? Because that's them being a parent, especially them being able to build the relationship as fast as they did. That's kind of like a win-win, for each one. But he says thank you for the food, and they say, yeah, all right, thank you for the food, and Deku goes upstairs. He texts Setsuna. They have a whole conversation about like going to the mall. So it was 9. So they're going to the mall like 1. So yeah, so he has about 4 hours to get ready. I'm gonna say he takes 30 minutes to take a shower, um, you know, do all the extra shit that you do after you take a shower, and then pick out an outfit, do scroll on his phone, and then he'll take a nap after that. So he'll have a nap for about 3 hours, and throughout that nap, he kind of has, you could say, a dream, a vision, more of a vision though. See, he has a vision of himself doing things that he would not have expected himself to be doing. He sees himself using the Diva Path, which is basically Almighty Push and Universal Pull. I think also Chubaku Tensei, I want to say, but I don't know. And then he sees himself using the Ashura Path, the Outer Path, the Human Path, the Animal Path, the Preta Path. I think the Naraka Path. Yeah, I think that's it, right? Yeah. So he sees himself using all of those, and he doesn't know what it is, but he sees himself using the fucking Rinnegan. So he's like, oh, so that must be my power, right? After he wakes up, he puts on the fit. He goes downstairs, tells his mom and dad, like, I'll be heading out now. They're like, okay, then here's the money, buy you some stuff. He's like, all right, thank you. And he heads out. He goes walking. They did offer to go drop him off at the mall, but he declined because he says, hey, I still need to get adjusted to the fucking city. But they highly understand that. And so he gets to the mall. He gets to the point where they were gonna meet up. They do all that shit. Setsuna's there with some friends, so it's gonna be Setsuna, Deku, Itsuka Kendo, Yui Kodai, and that's about it. So it's only him and 3 other girls. But yeah, I put a picture of Yui Kodai up. Hint, hint. She might be another ship for future What If, but we gonna keep that under wraps. Alright, we gonna keep that under wraps. But yeah, but I won't be making another What If for a while now. I'll focus on my What Ifs that I have now. I need to finish a lot of them, especially my Black Clover ones, and start new ones up. But yeah, so they hang out at the mall. They go to the arcade. They buy some clothes. Deku, his main colors are are black, white, gray, very monotone colors, right? Very I guess you could say like decent colors, right? Colors that could fit with almost anything. If you really, talking real talk, black goes with everything basically. White goes with everything, but white's easily, stainable, or if that's a word. But it's able to get dirty very easily, which is fucking annoying as hell. And gray can go with a lot of things, but I don't think everything. But yeah, and then he has purple because Rinnegan, and I guess you could say a little bit of red. Not a lot, but a little bit, a little bit of red, a little bit of green, and a little bit of pink. And the reason pink, I fuck with pink, alright? Now, I don't have a lot of pink shit, I really only have my shoe, and that's, pink, but just a little bit. But, I think pink's kind of dope. Not gonna lie. But yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's another question. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? But yeah, yeah. And then he has a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, a little bit of green, but mostly it's purple. You know, all the other colors that I said earlier. And so, you know, they rate each other's outfits. You know, they talking about this shit. You know, asking each other's questions. You know, Deku asks you like, "Hey, are you guys hungry? I'm a little hungry." And you know, because it's been like a couple of hours. You know, they got there at 1. So I'm gonna say it's like after 2 hours. So it's been a decent amount of time since he's had breakfast. So he's a little hungry. And, you know, he asks them. You know, they say like yeah, and you know, Deku's like, "All right, can we go? I don't know where it is." And now Kendo and Yui are kind of confused by this. And they're like, "Wait," or Kendo says this, and she says, "Wait, you don't know where the food court is? Are you new here?" And you know, Satsuna's like, "Oh my gosh," she says that, right? He's like, "I'm so sorry." Or no, "I'm so sorry, Nagato." And he's like, "What?" She's like, "I didn't tell them. You know, you haven't been in Mustafa or however the fuck you call it for 5 years." And Deku's like, "Oh no, it's fine." And when Yui and Kendo hear that, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like we're so sorry. We didn't know." And you know, they look at Satsuna, you know, they're like, "Why didn't you tell us this? You know, that was an important piece of information to know, you know." And she's like, "I'm so sorry, like, you know, please forgive me, but it totally slipped my mind." And you know, like I said in the last video, Deku's emotions in his mind, they loosen up a little bit. So on the outside, he doesn't have a smile, but on his inside of his, like, you know, head, he's a little happy, just a little bit though. Not enough to where he can show it, and not enough to where he knows he's happy, but he's like subconsciously happy, right? And he's like, "All right, then, you know, lead the way." And they're like, you know, like, "Yeah, we're gonna lead you the way, you know, show you where the food court is." You know, they get there, order their food. I don't know what they would order in a Japanese mall, but I don't even know if they have food courts over there. They should, right? I don't fucking know. But you know, they do that shit, and they ask each other questions. You know, do this and that. You know, they ask each other's about each other's quirks. Kendo, you know, she says, I can enlarge my hands." It's kind of useful, but not really. You know, Deku, you know, says, "No, it is useful. Like, there are many situations where you can use your quirk. You could rescue people, cover people from certain things, like maybe explosions, um, suffocation, maybe, to where, like, you know, they drown and shit. You could even, like, enlarge your fist at the last moment of impact. You know, give it a little bit of oomph, you know, in your punch and strength." And you know, she's noting all this down. She's like, "Oh my gosh, like I never knew I could do all this shit. I really just thought it was my quirk as a basic, right?" He's like, "Yeah, no problem." She's like, "Yeah, thank you, thank you." And you know, Yui talks about her quirk, you know, size. You know, she can manipulate the size of any non-organic thing. And if you don't know what non-organic is, it's basically um, non-living things, so inanimate objects. So like, she can control the size of a pillow, a metal rod, um, a book. Yeah, but anything that's living, like an animal, a plant, a human, because I think that's how her quirk works. Yeah, so like basically anything that's living, she cannot change the size of. And you know, Deku's like, "Oh, interesting. Does you changing the size of something affect the weight?" And she's like, "Yeah, it does." You know, Deku's like, "That could also be very useful in situations of, you know, rescue." Just like with Kendo's last quirk, you know, or just like what I said to Kendo, you could enlarge something at the last second and boom, you know, a little bit more power. Because if you don't know, you know, obviously the something bigger is, the heavier it is, harder to throw, more energy you need to put into it. But something that's lighter, you can put a lot of energy and it'll go faster than something heavier that, you know, you throw with the same amount of energy. So that happens, you know. She's like, "Thank you for the, you know, info." And you know, Satsuna, she's listening, right? She getting a little jelly, but she don't know that yet. She don't know that, you know, subconsciously, she's getting a little jealous, right? So she moves a little closer to Deku, and Kendo and Yui, they don't notice this, and Izuku doesn't either. Or no, I'm gonna just call him Deku. Deku doesn't notice this, but yeah. Setsuna is the only one who notices this shit, right? And she's like, why did I get closer, right? She asks herself that question. She's like, she don't know what to make of it, right? But that happens, you know. They ask about Izuku's quirk, and Izuku's like, I don't know what I can do with my quirk yet. You know, I only activated it a couple of weeks ago. You know, I'm still fairly new to all this quirk thing that I have going on right now. And they're like, oh, cool. What is it? Like he says, well, um, you might get a little scared if I show you. And he looks towards Setsuna, and Setsuna nods her head because she knows what he was gonna say. And he's like, alright then. So it's like, alright, so you might get a little scared, but I'm gonna show you anyways. And, you know, they're like, okay. You know, so he activates his Rinnegan, you know, that goes. And, you know, they're a little scared at first, but then they start looking at his eyes more, and they, you know, they get a little bit of it. They get a little entranced by it, right? So they start complimenting it, right? Like, his eyes look so beautiful, like they're so captivating, they're so different from a lot of other people's eyes. Because quirks aren't really genetic, you could say. Like, well, no, yeah, they are, but you know what I mean. But yeah. They say like, yo, no, we've never seen anyone with those types of eyes, right? You know, Deku's like, alright, you know, thank you. A lot of people are usually scared of my quirk when they see me. That's because, you know, I wasn't always able to, you know, deactivate my quirk. Because as soon as I got it, it was on. Until I finally figured that out about 6 days ago. You know, that like, oh my gosh, like, you're learning so quickly. Even though you just, you know, literally turned on your quirk basically. Or activated it. And he's like, yeah, I am. You know, they have that, you know, they finish eating, and, you know, they part ways, you know, they say goodbye to each other. Deku says goodbye to Setsuna, you know, Setsuna guest says goodbye, and that happens, you know, they go home, everyone goes home, and, you know, Deku gets home, you know, he talks with them, sits in the living room for a while, scrolling through his phone, you know, just doing all that normal shit, basically, you know. After a couple of hours, dinner comes by, you know, he eats dinner with his family, they talk about their day, so on and so forth. You know, he goes to sleep. That happens, and yeah. And I'ma cut. So I said he was gonna go to school in a week. So we're gonna cut 2 days before he goes to school. So it was a Monday. So it would be a Saturday. And I'm gonna say Saturday is the day where the slime or the sludge villain attacks, right? I'm gonna say it's Bakugo just cause I don't feel like changing it, but yeah. So him, you know, his mom and dad are strolling through the city, you know, cause, you know, Deku still gotta get familiarized. And, you know, they see a commotion, they go to check it out, and they see it's a sludge villain, right? And, you know, they see that someone's trapped in there and the heroes are doing nothing. And so Deku walks up in front of the crowd. And, you know, Minato and Kushin are trying to grab him. Like, Deku, come back over here. It's not safe. But Deku just ignores him straight up. Because throughout those past couple of days, he's been getting more and more visions. And he's been able to use the paths. Each path. Little by little, right? So he's been able to push and pull things towards him. He's been able to create, like, you know, little gravity balls and shit. You know, create mechanical arms. You know, like, he's actually been able to produce the laser that the Osteropath gives you. He was able to summon, you know, a way smaller version of one of the animals. He's been able to use the Outer Path, so the Chakra Rod and shit. He was able to summon... No, I'm not going to say he's going to be able to summon the King of Hell yet. But he will soon, since, you know, the 10-month time skip. But he's been able to use everything little by little. And so he walks towards the front. You know, he's just looking, staring at the heroes, just doing nothing. Mountain Lady, nothing. Backdraft, nothing. Death Arms, nothing. Calmly Woods, nothing. You know, he's just looking at it. It's pissing him off. It's reminding him of someone. Someone he hates a lot. It's reminding him of his own fucking father. All Might, also known as Toshinori Yagi. And once that gets in front of his mind, right, he's thinking about it, pisses him off a lot more. So he just straight up lets down, or he straight up activates his Rinnegan, right? And instead of activating it, just activating it, he actually releases a little bit of bloodlust. And it's enough to where everyone, just stops what they're doing, right? Everyone stops what they're doing. And they just straight up look towards Deku. And Deku just straight up says, pathetic. And now a lot of people are confused, like, what do you mean pathetic? And he straight up says again, you heroes, you're all pathetic. You sit here doing nothing. Feeling sorry for yourselves because you can't save someone? Weak. Cowardly. You don't have what it takes to be a hero. You know why? Because a hero is someone who sacrifices their own life for everyone around him. They are the embodiment of self-sacrifice. They put everyone else above themselves, even the people they hate. But you, I see you as children trying to meddle with adults. I guess I have to do it myself, don't I? As you know, when the heroes hear this, they're like, wait, kid, don't. You're not allowed to use your quirk. And Deku just straight up looks at them. I don't care. What are you guys doing? Nothing. Exactly. So, don't get in my way. Because if you do, it won't end nicely for you. And that's not a threat. It's a promise. As you know, when he gets straight up to the sludge villain, he just looks at it. And the sludge villain is like, what are you gonna do, kid? Like, I could just swallow you up right now, basically. And Deku just looks at him and he smiles. But it's not like a happy smile, right? Nah. Because when Deku's in that fight mode, he's gonna give you all the smoke. He don't give a fuck who the fuck you are, alright? If you want to get hit with everything, you go get hit with everything. And that's what the sludge villain is basically asking for. So Deku just looks at it and he's like, you messed up. I almost feel sorry for you. But then again, you are a villain. So why should I? As in, once he says that, he uses the Osteropath, creates missiles, because I think the Osteropath can create missiles. Yeah, because I haven't watched it in a minute. But yeah, he creates missiles, he launches them, right? And the people who are watching this, Minato and Kuchin are trying to get there, but the heroes are stopping them. Like, no one get by. Like, they're still trying to call back Deku, like, get back over here. You're not allowed to do this shit. This shit's illegal. And Deku just, he don't give a fuck. He blocks them out. And he just focuses on the sludge villain, the person inside. And, once the missiles land on the sludge villain, they get stuck inside. But the sludge villain is laughing like, ha, you really thought that was going to land on me? Don't you see? You can't hit me. You can't even grasp me. And Deku just says, that was the point. And the sludge villain's like, what do you mean? Oh. And then Deku, as soon as he hears the sludge villain say, oh, he blows him up. And then as soon as that happens, the matter of the sludge villain just separates everywhere. And he grabs the person inside, pulls him out, right? But he doesn't do it gently. Like, he straight up yeets them. It lands into one of the hero's arms. And, he goes into the villain, right? And, he says this quietly to where no one can hear him. And I mean absolutely no one. He goes up to the villain and says, I should have killed you. But, I have to keep my image. Because it's part of the play. Yeah. Next time, if you ever do this again, I won't hesitate to end your life. As he gets back up, walks away. and the heroes are trying to catch up to him, like, and shit. But he gone, especially with, like, his mom and dad, right? He grabs him and he's gone. He dipped. The media was trying to catch him too, but nah. And Baku was over here. They're like, I had that by myself, and so the media goes to him. But now they're wondering, like, who was that? Like, we didn't get a name. We got nothing. All we know, black hair, purple eyes, about 5'11", just that. They just have a basic description of him, right? So, they're trying to find who it is, bring him to justice. But then again, he has a valid reason on why he did it. So, he gets home, Minato and Kushina scold him about it, right? They're like, we're thankful that, you just didn't go all the way, Deku's like, yeah, I could have killed him if I wanted to, but I can't do that if I'm trying to be a hero, right? And, they're like, yeah, you can. But next time, be careful, okay? And so Deku, he's just like, alright then. And, school rolls around the next couple of days. It's Monday, he goes to school. And, he goes to the same school as Satsuna, I'm going to say Kendo and Yui. And I'm going to say Kendo and Yui are in the same class, while Deku and Satsuna are in the same class. So, in this school, there's a big dog, right? Just like Bakugo thinks he's the big dog, or is the big dog in Aljera Middle School. There's a big dog in here. I'm not going to come up with a name, but all I'm going to say, he's able to use lightning, just like Kaminari, but he doesn't get fucking, he doesn't become dumb. So he's able to use electricity around him, just like Black Lightning. If you know who that is, it's a character from DC. So he's able to draw from electricity. I'm gonna say he's gonna be able to use electricity. Basically the same shit. So he's able to use electricity, right? He's able to draw it from the surrounding area. So he's pretty fucking strong, right? But he's not a nice guy. Right, he's kind of like Bakugo. He's arrogant as fuck. He thinks he's the shit. Right, he thinks he's all that. But when Deku comes in, he wants to assert his dominance over him. So second day comes around. It's on Tuesday, right? So he walks up to Deku and he's like, "Hey, you." And Deku turns around and he's like, "Me?" And he's like, "Yeah, you. What's your name?" And Deku says, "My name, Nagato Uzumaki." "Why?" And he says, "Just so you know, I'm the big dog here. I'm the top. No one is above me. I just need you to know that. Because if you ever try to step up to me, I'll send you to the hospital." And Deku, he just looks at him. And he just says, "You're too weak to send me to the hospital, let alone touch me." And when the fucking guy hears this, bro, he's pissed. He is pissed as fuck. He says, "What do you say?" And Deku says it again. "You're too weak to even be able to touch me, let alone send me to the hospital." And now, when the guy hears this, they have a crowd forming around them, and the teachers are there, right? And so the teachers are trying to break it up, but it's too late. The guy uses his quirk on Deku, and he sends the electricity towards him. And Deku, he just takes it. He straight up fucking tanks that bitch, right? I said tank, right? Like a fucking tank, military tank. He tanks it. And he just walks out of it. And Satsuna's there, right? And she's like, "Deku, are you, like, Nagato, are you alright?" She's screaming for Nagato, like, "Yo, hey, are you alright?" And, she just sees him emerging out of the fucking cloud of just dust and debris. Because, the electricity did create a crater. And completely fucking fine. His clothes are ripped up, right? But everything else is fine. But Deku, he different, right? He got a different expression on his face than what he normally has, right? His stoic and emotionless face. Now, his face, he has the Rinnegan activated, but his face is scary. Not where it's a smile, but it just looks scary, just like kind of like Vegeta, right? He always looks pissed off. Deku, he looks mad. And so he's not even using the Rinnegan, bro. He just has it activated because he's that pissed. He just blitzes the guy, right? He grabs his face and he crushes it, right? He doesn't crush it to where like he dies, but he fractures the guy's skull, jaw, cheekbone, fucking, everything basically. Not enough to where it would cause like brain damage, but like severe bleeding. None of that. But it'll cause like a little bit of bleeding and shit, right? But it won't kill him. So he kind of like fractures his skull and like his other bones in his face, and he fucking slams that bitch into the fucking ground. And he just stands back up, and his stoic face is back, and he just tells him, "Listen here. If you ever try to threaten me like that again, it will not end nicely for you. I'm not the same person. Because once you start a fight, it'll either be when you're knocked out or severely injured. Because when I fight, I'm a different person. Keep that in mind, boy." And he just stands up and he goes straight to the principal's office. He knows he was going to go to the principal's office no matter what. So, they call up his parents. His parents are defending him like, bro, he got attacked first. And he didn't even use his quirk. He straight up smashed this motherfucker's face into the fucking floor. And they're like, yeah, but like we can't condone fighting at this school. And they're like, that's bullshit. He used his quirk. You should have him expelled. And they're like, you're right. Alright, so how about this? Your son, he can't come to school for, a week or so. And they're like, alright, we take that, but I want that other child expelled. Like, we want him expelled. That's illegal what he did. He can't use his quirk in public. And I'm gonna say the media hasn't been able to catch Deku yet for him fucking up the sludge villain, so they don't know, right? And they're like, okay, we'll expel him immediately. So that happens. They expel the kid, and yeah, he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back in the future. Keep that in mind. Alright, so that happens. Week goes by, he goes back to school, and I'm gonna just say, 10-month time skip, right? He does training here and there. Him and Setsuna have gotten a lot closer, but the shackles on his emotions are still there. But slowly, it's like each and every day it's loosening, but just a little bit, right? But that'll soon be over. So he's been able to find a way to use the Rinnegan effectively. He's been able to use a lot of them. He's been able to summon the King of Hell with, I think it was the Naraka path, if I'm not mistaken. He's been able to summon the large animals, right? So like the crow or the raven, I forgot what the fuck kind of animal it was, but the bird, the chameleon, the dog, I think it was a rhinoceros. All them motherfuckers, right? He's been able to summon them in a rural location, so not a lot of people. And yeah, so him, Setsuna, Yui, Kendo, his mom and dad, they've been chilling. And he has seen All Might on the news a lot. And each time he sees him, he just closes his eyes, straight up. He doesn't want anything to do with him. And that happens. And he hasn't actually crossed paths with them yet. So yeah. And in this what if, Izumi does have one for all, but that ain't gonna do shit for her. Alright, that ain't gonna do shit. So that happens. 10-month training period, that's over with. Now we're gonna go to the entrance exams. Now Setsuna is recommended, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because she is recommended in canon. So yes, she's not gonna go through the entrance exams. So it's only gonna be him, Yui, and Kendo. And they pull up, right? Minato and Kushino wish Deku a good luck, right? Like, good luck, son. And now they've gotten to the point now they've gotten to a point in their relationship where they call each other mom and dad, or like Deku calls him mom and dad, Minato and Kushina call him son,
or Nagato, they're more comfortable with each other. Now Deku hasn't smiled or anything, he hasn't laughed, none of that shit. But he's getting there, right? And they can tell. But Deku pulls up with Yui and Kendo. Kendo's and Yui's parents, they also wish him good luck. And so they get there, Deku does not trip, so he doesn't even meet Ochako. And he wouldn't even meet Ochako, because I'm going to say he gets there early, because I'm going to say Deku is kind of punctual in this, He doesn't like being late. So, yeah. He did go to, I guess you could say, court for using his quirk in public, but they ruled him guilty, but they didn't give him a severe punishment because, what he did was honorable. Even though it was illegal, it was honorable. He was saving someone's life. They would have died if he didn't step in. And they know that for a fact. I'm going to say All Might wasn't there. Or I'm going to say All Might was there, but he didn't do anything. So, that happens. And so, the entrance exams happens. He doesn't meet Ida, so, yeah. They do their, I think it was a written exam. Deku straight up aces that hoe. 100%. Flying colors. No way he doesn't pass that shit. Kendo and Yui, they get good scores. And so, they sit near each other in the, I guess you could call it, auditorium. That's what I call it or some shit. I call it the auditorium, right? And, they sitting with each other. Deku don't have his Rinnegan activated, his regular eyes. He has, I guess you could say his outfit is a black hoodie, some purple shoes, and some black pants. Yeah, basic outfit, right? So he's just there, and he closes his eyes, right? He's just sleeping, basically, because he's already run through the pan flip. He already knows what the 0-pointer, the 1-pointer, the 2-pointer, the 3-pointer is. Like ground, all the grounds that they're sent to, how they're separated and shit. The time limit, this and that. And so that happens, President Mike comes up, and, he does the same shit. And, Ida obviously has to do his Ida shit. Raises his hand, President Mike calls on him. He's like, "Sir, you have 4 robots in the pamphlet, but you've only mentioned 3. If this is a mistake, UA should be highly ashamed, because it is a very highly prestigious school. And now he notices Deku, sleeping and shit, right? If you are not serious about this and you just want to sleep, I suggest that you should leave. We don't need heroes who are lazy. Or we don't need people who are lazy." And Deku opens his eyes, and Yui and Kendo, they kind of scared now. They like, oh fuck, he kind of fucked up. And Deku just straight up looks at him. Deku he just sends some bloodlust towards him. Just him though, like everyone else cannot feel it, but he just sends some bloodlust towards him, right? And now Ida's just frozen, stiff, like a little bitch, right? And Deku, he just straight up says, "I already know what I need to do. Also, worry about yourself and stop worrying about other people. And if you waited just a little bit longer, President Mike over here was just about to explain the last robot, who isn't even that important. It's basically an obstacle, a 0-pointer. You don't need to worry about it, okay? So, I would suggest that you keep your trap shut until the end of the presentation, okay?" And now Ida just straight up nods, and he sits down in embarrassment like a bozo. And President Mike says, "Thank you, contestant so and so," right? And that happens, and they go to the grounds and shit. I'm gonna say, Izuku is by himself. Yui and Kendo are in ground alpha, and I think Deku was in ground beta. And so that happens, and Deku's just there, chilling, right? Eyes closed, and he's just waiting for the gates to open. And Ida wants to say something. He wants to say something so bad, but he just can't bring himself to say it because the amount of bloodlust he felt when Deku sent it towards his way, it was scary, like hella scary. And so that happens, right? And now, as soon as Ida was finally got the guts to fucking say some shit, right? The gates start opening just a smidge to let at least one person through. And when Deku sees this, he's gone. He straight up blitzes past everyone, and he's gone. He starts taking out robots left and right, chakra rods, right? And he's actually, yeah, he does have chakra. He has to have chakra, so he's gonna be able to use all 5 fucking styles, right? Or no, all 5 chakra natures. So fire, lightning, earth, wind, and water. Yeah, he gonna be busted in this shit. He busted because the Rinnegan does let you master all 5 of those way easier than it would be normally. So he's able to use all those. So he uses fire style, water style, earth style. He don't use lightning or wind because he still need to kick those out a little bit. But if you got some jutsu suggestions, put them down in the comments real quick, bro. I'd love to hear some suggestions. But other than that, yeah. And he's flying too, bro. Like he's pulling out all the stocks. He don't go fuck. He says I'm getting first in this bitch, right? He don't care. He says he's not even doing it for himself right now. He's doing it for his mom and dad, because those are his new support beams, right? His new pillars of hope, of salvation for himself, basically. And Satsuna and Kendo and Yui, because those people are basically his family. Satsuna, kind of, but yeah, he set up dogging each and every robot. He got 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers. He's accumulated about like 200. No, I'm gonna say fuck it, 300 points, right? 300 points. And so as soon as that happens, right? Deku, he just hogging all the robots, bro. And he's kind of happy that Kendo and Yui didn't get where he was because if they were there, they wouldn't have gotten any robots. But that happens. And now the 0-pointer rolls around, right? Because now Nezu and everyone else in the, I guess you could say, the viewing room, or whatever, the spectating room. Everyone's talking about like, geez, do you see that kid over there? Like, who is that? And Aizawa speaks up. He's like, that's the kid who took out the sludge villain, who was at the sludge villain incident a couple of months back. And they were like, that's him? Wow. He's so powerful, everyone's like gawking at his power, right? But All Might, he's a little sus about him, right? Because, or if you don't know what sus is, it means suspicious, right? So he's a little sus about him, right? He's like, how does he have that many different abilities? Like he's able to use fire, water, earth. He's able to fly. He's able to do all this crazy shit. Like, is he connected all one for all, or no, all for one? Like, is all for one still alive? No, that can't be. I killed him, right? And so he's thinking about this, right? And Nezu notices this, and he looks at him, right? And he's just like, never mind, I'll talk to him later. And he's like, alright then, let's see how he fares up against the 0-pointer. And he slams the button down. And they're like, oh fuck, and now they're sitting at the edge of the seats. They want to see what Deku's gonna do. And so now we come back to Deku's perspective. The floor is rumbling, shaking, almost like an earthquake. And then buildings being collapsed all over the place. And the floor just tearing apart. People running, screaming. And I'm gonna say Ochako don't get stuck, because I don't know how the fuck she would get. Oh well, no, I'm gonna say she does get stuck, right? So Deku, he actually didn't care. He said, I'm gonna take this bitch out too. I'm gonna take it out. So he straight up summons the fucking dog, right? The dog where like if you cut off one head, I think two take its place. It's kind of like a Hydra, right? So he summons the dog, but then he hears a girl scream, and he looks towards the direction, and he finds her. He straight up flies towards her, gets her off of the rubble, right? And he takes her, brings up the King of Hell, puts her in it, and then the King of Hell heals her, and she steps out, and she's completely fine. And she was about to say thank you, but Deku just straight up looks at her and he says, I don't care. And he just goes back to where the dog is, and the dog is straight up mowing down the 0-pointer, bro. The 0-pointer stood no chance. Because I think it starts off with 3 heads, right? Kind of like a Cerberus. And it straight up fucked the 0-pointer. The 0-pointer stood no chance. It was never going to win. And so now the teachers in the spectator room, they're baffled, bro. Straight up baffled. They don't know what to think. And Aizawa just straight up just says this while the room is dead silent. I want him in my class. And everyone looks towards him. Is like, really, Aizawa? Like, you want him in your class? I don't even know if he like. And that's who straight up says this, right? Like, I don't even know if he should even be in your class. And Aizawa's like, what do you mean? And Nezu responds, he's not even like built for class 1A. He's in a different league of his own. He's like a different breed. He's built different, right? And everyone straight up agrees with this. Like, yeah, like he's whatever he has, his quirk, it's amazing. Now All Might sweating bullets, bro. He sees what Deku can do. He's scared. He's literally scared. A dog that can basically take down a 0-pointer, minimal effort, right? He can do so many things. He can basically summon whatever the fuck that thing was, right? And he put the girl in there, took her out, and she was completely fine. He is bamboozled. And now he's like, I need to have a conversation with that kid. Little do he know, that's his own son. His own fucking son. And yet he can't even recognize him. Which is sad, but, I mean, how could you recognize him, right? But then again, a parent should always be able to recognize their own son or daughter. But that happens, end of the fucking entrance exam is finished. That happens, Deku leaves before All Might, Nezu, Aizawa, anyone can talk to him, right? Even before Ochako can thank him, properly, before, she was cut off by him by saying, I don't care. And, that happens, he meets up with Kendo and Yui, they walk home. They tell Setsuna what happened, and Deku's like, I know I passed for certain. And, that happens, next week rolls around, because, I think it took a week for the acceptance letters to come in, and Deku, he scored 300 points flat. Alright, wink wink, nudge nudge, right? 300, alright, I'm gonna just say that, 300, alright? If you get that reference, you're a G. But, yeah, it's actually All Might who is in the projection, right? And he congratulates Deku. But once Deku notices his face, he grabs the projector and he straight up crushes it in his hand, and he throws it in the garbage. And there was a letter sent with it. He says, you were accepted into 1A, UA. You're gonna be in class 1A, and your homeroom teacher is gonna be Shota Aizawa, and this and that extra bullshit, right? And so that happens, and he texts the group chat, right? Because I'm gonna say they made group chat. You know, like what classes are you guys in? I know Setsuna's in class 1B, but what did you guys make it in? You know, Kendo and you, we both respond, you know, we got 1B. And like, what did you get? What did you get? And Deku says, I got 1A with 300 points. And they all respond like, 300 points? What? We know you're strong, but 300 points? That's unfair. Now they're complaining this shit like Deku. He breaks the smallest fucking smile. Like, literally, it's not even noticeable. He couldn't even notice that he broke a smile. But it's there. But then it goes away after like a millisecond or some shit. But, that happens. And so, yeah. I think this is where I'm gonna end off part 2. To where the Deku had the Rinnegan. I know last video I said I was gonna go over the first day of UA. But I said maybe. And the video is already 50 minutes long, and it is 2:34 in the morning for me, because every other part of the day is usually loud as fuck. Even right now, you heard a car pass by. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed part 2 to what if Deku had the Rinnegan. Next what if that I upload, it'll be a Black Clover what if, and hopefully y'all can decide which one y'all want. But until then, I'ma catch y'all sexy ass motherfuckers later.